Hey everyone, got a request for another RC car video, so I thought I'd show everyone what I've been doing. This here is my vintage Tamiya Thunder Shot, originally a Thunder Dragon. Just want to show you one aspect here of what I've done, and that has to do with the rear body mounts. And so if you're familiar with the Thunder Dragon and the Thunder Shot, you're also quite familiar with the B10 piece. These are the rear body mount posts here, and it really stinks to have to buy a whole sheet of plastic parts just because you've flipped your car a few times and sheared off the top of your body mounts. So I got tired of that, and I made a set of mounts, and I'll show you can adjust the size of your bolt height here, but I left these tall so that in case I do flip the car, this hits the ground and this is what takes the damage, not the body. Especially because I've just been working on a new body here, and I'm going to put some decals on that, and I want to get that mounted, and I don't want to screw this up. So I'll pop off the body first. I've taken off the front cotter pin already, and I'm just going to remove the mounts that I put on here. They sit on an 832 2-inch bolt or screw. Use a plastic spacer or disc, which you can drill a hole through in a bit. So we'll lift off the body. Underneath, you'll see here that I have a rubber washer or spacer, and then another plastic disc. The rubber is for giving a little cushion against the underside of the body so it doesn't scratch any of the paint on the other side. And then there's a second 832 nut here on each side, and those you can just use to adjust the height, and so that'll help you decide how high or low you want your rear part of your body to go. To make things easier, take off the tires on the back. What we're going to do is take off the screws to drop the gearbox down, and we'll start on this side. We'll pop out these two screws here. There you go. Same thing. Now I've got a lot of painter's tape on here. This is mostly for me, just I want to keep the dirt out from getting caught up underneath, keep everything in place. So now with the screws out, I can just gently pop this down and out of the way. Exposing underneath, you'll see how we have those screws mounted. And then fish down the screw. Now on top you'll see I used a lock washer, so I don't want this coming out on me. Like I said before, you could do this pretty much any length you want, but I found the 2-inch length was high enough to give me enough play, but not too high. Now, compared to the regular 8/32 bolt, which you can see has a rounded head, you'll notice that the one to the right here is shaved down and flat. You may be able to find a flatter, thinner head 8/32 at Home Depot, but these are the ones I had lying around. Now the reason I had to shave the head down here with a Dremel was because on this left side underneath there's not a lot of clearance. You've got more clearance on the right side because when you swing the gearbox up into place, there's nothing in the way until you get down to the motor. But on the left side, you can see here you've got this upper screw on the gearbox that goes in here. Well, that comes right underneath this body mount. And what I found was when I first tried out this modification, like it is on the right side, I couldn't get the gearbox back in place. And so the solution was shave down the head of the screw just enough, flat enough, and does not get in the way of the gearbox. So that's just a tip there. in case you decide to do this. There is very little clearance. Now the original body mounts that went on to here sat like this, and they were attached from underneath with the infamous BB1 screw. It would come up through the bottom of the chassis, and then you would tighten it onto the body mount like that. The holes in the chassis were not big enough, so I had to just take a drill and I opened those up a little bit, just enough to accommodate, and the head was wide enough to catch on the bottom side of the mount like that. All I had to do was to make sure that it didn't work itself loose on me. So first step was to put on the lock washer. Second step, matching 832 nut, and tighten that into place. And so I did that on both sides. So with that in place on both sides, then I was able to move the gearbox back up. However, make sure that you've lined up your drive shaft to the front with the slot on your gearbox. Okay, once that's in place, you just slide everything back up in, and we'll reattach those BB1 screws in the side. So now gearbox is back on chassis. I'll just tighten up the, gotta excuse all that painter's tape. So we have the body mounts. I'll come down all the way to the same height as the other one I had here before. Again, plastic disc. I think these were something that came with like one of the kids' toys or something that, you know, that not frustration-free packaging. And I drilled a hole through the center so that it sat on here. And it serves as a nice lightweight plate for the body. I used a rubber washer. Lay that on top, and then the body's going to rest on that. I'll do that on the other side as well. Okay, now with the tires back on, we can mount the body. I'll just put the new body to show you. Line up the holes here, push that down. In the front, we've got your clip here, and as you can see, it's fairly level from the sides, but again, by adjusting the height of the nut underneath, you can lift up the tail of the body however you want. And so we have it there like that. And then for the top, so I don't put too much pressure on the body itself, again, another one of those plastic discs that I've drilled the holes out. I just loosely thread those on, and that's it. And so that gives me enough height that if the car does flip, I don't mind sacrificing a few of these if it saves the body. And that's the body mount modifications for the Tamiya Thunder Shot or Thunder Dragon. So next time I'll do a video about the decal application.